At his absolute peak, Lionel Messi wasn't just the best player in the world, he was operating in a different dimension entirely. While other players were breaking records, Messi was breaking the laws of physics. While strikers celebrated 30-goal seasons, he was dropping 91. While playmakers racked up assists, he was doing both at levels that made statisticians question their own data. But here's the thing, most people get wrong about Messi's prime. It wasn't one moment, it wasn't one season, it wasn't even one version of himself. Between 2009 and 2015, Lionel Messi reached a level of football that the sport had never seen before and will likely never see again. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why his prime stands alone as the greatest individual peak in football history. This is the story of 6 years that changed football forever. 6 years where a 5'7" kid from Rosario, Argentina, became the most feared player on the planet. 6 years where Barcelona didn't just dominate Europe, they redefined what domination meant. And 6 years where one man carried the weight of the world's greatest club on his shoulders and made it look effortless. We're talking about 73 goals in a single season, 91 goals in a calendar year, 4 consecutive Ballon d'Or, 2 trebles, and performances so outrageous that defenders like Alan Hansen admitted they were genuinely frightened to face him. But to understand why Messi's prime was the greatest of all time, we need to go back to where it all started. Back to 2008, when a young Argentine was about to meet the coach who would unlock something the football world had never witnessed before. The Guardiola Revolution. May 2009, the Bernabeu, Barcelona versus Real Madrid. Pep Guardiola had just taken over as Barcelona's head coach, and he was about to conduct an experiment that would change football forever. Instead of playing Messi on the right wing, where he'd spent most of his career, Guardiola moved him centrally into a position that didn't really exist yet: the false nine. The idea was simple but devastating. Messi would drop deep between Real Madrid's midfield and defense, creating a 4 versus 3 overload in the center of the pitch. If the centre-backs followed him, space opened up for Pedro and Villa on the wings. If they stayed back, Messi had time to turn, drive, and destroy. Real Madrid had no answer. Barcelona won 6-2, and Messi was at the heart of everything. The 2009 to 2010 season, confirmation. That first season under Guardiola, Messi put up 47 goals and 12 assists in 53 games. He was scoring a goal every 93 minutes. He won his first Ballon d'Or. Barcelona won the treble. But this was just the warm-up. The 2010 to 2011 season, perfection. The following year, Messi elevated to another level entirely. 53 goals and 28 assists in 55 games. He wasn't just the world's best scorer anymore. He was the world's best creator too. His heat maps from this season tell the story. Dense concentration in zone 14, that space just outside the penalty box where defenders lose their minds trying to figure out who should mark him. And then came the Champions League final at Wembley. Manchester United, one of the greatest teams in English football history. Rio Ferdinand, one of the best defenders of his generation, standing across from Messi. Years later, Ferdinand would describe that night with brutal honesty. "We went to a fight of war with no guns, no knives. The only time in my career I've been in a game and thought we can't do anything." Barcelona dominated 68.4% possession, 89.6% pass accuracy. Messi scored one of the goals in a 3-1 victory that wasn't even that close. The 2011 to 2012 season, when Messi broke football. If you want to pinpoint the exact moment when Messi reached his absolute peak, it's right here. The 2011 to 12 season. 73 goals, 34 assists, 60 games. Let me put that in perspective for you. Messi scored 50 goals in La Liga alone. That's 50 goals in 37 games. He was averaging 1.22 goals per game. He was scoring a goal every 71.5 minutes. He was involved in a goal or assist every 50.7 minutes. He had 10 hat-tricks that season. 10. He scored 4 goals in a match twice. He scored 5 goals against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League, becoming the first player ever to do that. His advanced metrics were off the charts. His non-penalty expected goals plus expected assisted goals per 90 minutes was 1.30, putting him in the 99th percentile globally. Translation: even the mathematical models designed to predict football couldn't keep up with what he was doing. But here's what makes this season truly insane. Messi outscored 61 of the 98 teams in Europe's top 5 leagues. The 2012 calendar year, the unbreakable record. And then Messi did something that will probably never be matched. 91 goals in a calendar year. He broke Gerd Müller's record of 85 goals that had stood since 1972. And he didn't just break it, he obliterated it. 59 goals in La Liga, 13 in the Champions League, 5 in the Copa del Rey, 2 in the Spanish Super Cup against Real Madrid, and 12 for Argentina, including a hat-trick against Brazil. Only 14 of those 91 goals were penalties. That means 77 non-penalty goals in 1 year. His closest competitor, Cristiano Ronaldo, who had 63 goals in 71 games that year. Messi had 91 in 69 games. He was scoring 1.32 goals per game compared to Ronaldo's 0.89. He needed 35 fewer minutes to score a goal than the second best player in the world. This wasn't just dominance. This was a different sport. The 2012 to 2013 season, the streak. The following season, Messi did something that still seems impossible. He scored in 21 consecutive La Liga matches, 21 straight games. He scored against every single team in La Liga consecutively. He finished that season with 60 goals and 15 assists in 50 games. And here's where it gets weird. That season, Messi scored 20 goals from outside the box. His expected goals model said he should have scored 5. He was overperforming the mathematical predictions by 15 goals. His conversion rate from long range was nearly 30%. The models couldn't account for his finishing ability because it was so far beyond what was considered possible. Defenders had to press him at 25 to 30 yards out, which stretched their entire defensive shape and created space for his teammates. He was breaking defenses just by existing in certain areas of the pitch. The tiki-taka machine. During Messi's prime, Barcelona wasn't just a great team. They were widely considered the greatest club team in football history. The 2010-11 Barcelona side is still the standard by which all other teams are measured. Xavi and Iniesta controlling the midfield, Dani Alves bombing down the right flank, Puyol and Piqué marshalling the defense, and Messi, the false nine, the conductor of the entire orchestra. Pep Guardiola built the system, but Messi was the system. Every pass, every movement, every tactical decision revolved around getting the ball to Leo in the right spaces at the right times. The synergy between Messi, Xavi and Iniesta was telepathic. Those rapid 1-2s, the quick combinations that would slice through defenses like a hot knife through butter. Messi would drop deep, receive the ball, and suddenly 3 defenders would be taken out of the game with 1 pass. The numbers don't lie. Between 2009 and 2012, Barcelona won 3 La Liga titles, 2 Champions Leagues, 2 Copa del Reys, and became the first Spanish team to win the treble. In 2009, they won 6 trophies in 1 calendar year. The sextuple. And Messi was at the center of all of it. His presence alone changed games. Opponents would set up their entire tactical system around stopping him. They'd assign 2, sometimes 3 players to mark him, and he'd still find a way through. Camp Nou's God. At the Camp Nou, Messi wasn't just a player, he was a deity. Every time he touched the ball, 99,000 people held their breath. Every time he went on one of those mazy dribbles, weaving through 4 or 5 defenders like they were training cones, the stadium would erupt. The chant of Messi, Messi, Messi became the soundtrack of Barcelona's dominance. Fans would arrive hours early just to watch him warm up. Kids wore his number 10 jersey like it was a religious garment. When he scored that solo goal against Getafe in the Copa del Rey in 2007, a carbon copy of Maradona's goal against England, the comparisons to Diego became unavoidable.
Assistència de Xavi, més capeta per Messi, 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 immens Messi, encara 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 Messi, gol, 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 gol.
But by his prime, Messi had transcended even that. He wasn't the new Maradona, he was the first Messi. Global icon. But it wasn't just Barcelona fans. Football fans around the world, even supporters of rival clubs, would tune in just to watch him play. There was an understanding that you were witnessing something that might never happen again. Real Madrid fans hated him, obviously, but even they couldn't deny what they were seeing. When Messi scored that hat-trick at the Bernabeu in 2007, when he held up his Barcelona shirt to the Real Madrid crowd, after scoring the winner in 2017, these weren't just goals, they were statements. This was Messi's era, and everyone knew it. What the greats said, the most telling evidence of Messi's greatness during his prime. Listen to what the people who actually played against him had to say. Arsène Wenger, who managed Arsenal for over 2 decades and saw every great player of his generation, said this: "He's the best dribbler I've ever seen. He's the best passer I've ever seen. He scores as many goals as anyone I've ever seen." Sorry, I'm going back to it again, aren't I? I grew up with Maradona. Diego Maradona was my favourite player always. But I think for me, Lionel Messi is the best, not just of this era, but of every era. Sir Alex Ferguson, after losing to Barcelona in the 2011 Champions League final, sought out Messi specifically to shake his hand. Ferguson, who had managed Cristiano Ronaldo at his peak, who had seen George Best and countless other legends, made a point of acknowledging Messi's greatness. Rio Ferdinand's quote about that match says it all. "We went to a fight of war with no guns, no knives. The only time in my career I've been in a game and thought we can't do anything." Pep's testimony. But perhaps the most important voice is Pep Guardiola's, the man who coached Messi during his peak years, who built the system that unleashed him, who saw him every single day in training. Guardiola has called Messi the best player I've ever seen in my life, coming from a man who played with and against some of the greatest players in history, who has now coached at the highest level for over 15 years. That statement carries weight. Guardiola understood something crucial. Messi wasn't just talented, he was coachable, dedicated, and constantly evolving. The Messi of 2009 was different from the Messi of 2012, who was different from the Messi of 2015. He adapted, improved, and found new ways to dominate. The greatest rivalry in sports. You can't talk about Messi's prime without talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. In 2009, Ronaldo moved from Manchester United to Real Madrid for a then world record fee. Suddenly, the 2 best players in the world were in the same league, playing for the 2 biggest rivals in football. What followed was a decade-long arms race that pushed both players to unprecedented heights. The numbers game. Let's look at the head-to-head during Messi's prime years, 2011 to 2015. Over those 4 seasons, Messi had 232 goals and 86 assists. Ronaldo had 227 goals and 62 assists. The key difference. Here's what separated them during this period. Messi sometimes doubled Ronaldo's assist numbers. He averaged twice as many successful dribbles per game. He was creating chances at a rate that Ronaldo simply couldn't match. Ronaldo was a peerless scorer, one of the greatest goal scorers in football history. But Messi was a peerless scorer and a peerless playmaker. He could do everything Ronaldo could do, plus things Ronaldo couldn't. In 2012, when Messi scored 91 goals, Ronaldo had 63. Both were playing in the same league, against the same opponents, in the same conditions. The gap was undeniable. mutual respect. But here's the thing about their rivalry. It made both of them better. Ronaldo pushed Messi to maintain his standards. Messi pushed Ronaldo to evolve his game. They shared the Ballon d'Or between them for years, trading the award back and forth. And while fans will debate forever about who was better, the players themselves showed mutual respect. They understood they were living through something special, a rivalry that defined an entire era of football. But during Messi's prime, from 2009 to 2015, the numbers tell a clear story. Messi was operating at a level that even Ronaldo, as great as he was, couldn't quite reach. The four pillars. So why was Messi's prime the greatest of all time? It comes down to four undeniable factors. Statistical dominance. The 91 goal year and 73 goal season sit 3 to 4 standard deviations above the mean of other Ballon d'Or winners. This isn't just being better than your peers. This is rewriting what's considered possible. Messi's output during his prime was so far beyond the norm that statisticians had to adjust their models. He was an outlier among outliers. Tactical mastery. Messi didn't just fit into Guardiola's system. He was the system. The false nine position was invented for him. The entire tactical meta of European football for half a decade revolved around either copying what Barcelona did with Messi or trying to figure out how to stop it. He defined how the game was played at the highest level. That's not just individual brilliance, that's changing the sport itself. Creative superiority. Unlike pure goal scorers like Gerd Müller or Pelé, Messi was simultaneously the world's best passer, the world's best dribbler, and the world's best chance creator. He averaged 2.49 key passes per 90 minutes. He created 0.80 big chances per 90, essentially gifting his team a goal per match independent of his own scoring. He completed 4.58 successful dribbles per 90 when elite wingers averaged 2.5 to 3.0. He was the engine of the team, not just the exhaust pipe. Historical context. When you adjust for the rigor of modern defensive structures, Messi's output stands alone. He was doing this against Mourinho's Real Madrid, one of the best defensive teams ever assembled. Against Simeone's Atletico Madrid, masters of the low block. Against the most organized, athletic, tactically sophisticated defenses in football history. Pelé played in an era where defensive organization was primitive by modern standards. Maradona's Napoli scored 17 goals total in their title-winning season. Messi was scoring 50+ in La Liga alone, while also creating 15 to 20 assists. The verdict. In the 2011-12 season, Lionel Messi didn't just play football, he solved it. He reduced the variance of the sport to a mathematical certainty. If the definition of greatest of all time is the player who played the game at the highest possible level for the longest sustained period, then Lionel Messi, specifically between 2009 and 2015, is the only objective answer. The legacy. Messi's prime ended, as all primes do. Injuries in 2013 slowed him down slightly. Key teammates like Xavi and Iniesta aged. Neymar eventually left. The Barcelona machine that had dominated Europe began to show cracks. But what Messi accomplished between 2009 and 2015 will never be replicated. The records he set during that period, 73 goals in a season, 91 in a calendar year, may stand forever. He went on to have other great seasons. The 2018-19 campaign, where he carried a declining Barcelona team on his back, might have been his most complete performance. The 2022 World Cup victory at age 35 completed his legacy and silenced any remaining doubters. But his prime, those 6 years where he was simply untouchable, remains the gold standard for individual excellence in football. The question answered. So was Lionel Messi's prime the greatest of all time? The statistics say yes. The trophies say yes. The opponents who faced him say yes. The coaches who tried to stop him say yes. The mathematical models that tried to quantify him say yes. But more than that, Anyone who watched him during those years knows the answer. You didn't need advanced metrics or tactical analysis. You could see it with your own eyes. For 6 years, Lionel Messi played football at a level that transcended the sport itself. He didn't just beat opponents, he made them irrelevant. He didn't just break records, he made them meaningless. He was, quite simply, the greatest player in the world, operating at the greatest level anyone has ever reached. And we may never see anything like it again. If you want to see more deep dives into football's greatest moments and players, make sure to subscribe. And if you think there's another player whose prime could match Messi's, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your case. But I'll warn you now, the numbers don't lie. And the numbers say Messi's prime stands alone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.